Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another FTTV podcast / live stream, I guess. The team pick is open, and you've got Eno and JD on Jords' YouTube channel because he was just here a second ago. What happened? Where'd he go?
He dipped, has he, again? Far out.
Here he is, actually. We'll add him back in, but pick is open. We've been waiting, boys. We've been waiting, JD, and of course, we still don't know what's going on with round 0. So I guess today me and Jords are off. I think work. You're, ditching
lunch break.
We'll just
no. Lunch break. Come on. It's repurposing my allocated free time.
Yeah, good stuff. And I guess we'll just look at some prices. Really, we'll have a scroll through. We'll try and fill the team up and see what we think, the early structure might look like. But yeah, I guess we'll just discuss some players and prices at this stage because that's sort of what we've been waiting for, and we'll go from there. But how you been, JD? You haven't spoken to any of your boys in a while, face to face. So, well, I guess we're still not face to face, but I can see you. So, what's been happening?
I mentioned this on my channel, but I played AFLW for the first time and got another hat. So we've got 3 hats from 3 seasons, which is pretty good.
Gonna need a bigger shelf, mate.
Yeah. Gonna need some kind of like mantle for them or something. They're just collecting dust at the moment, but yeah, no, I'm going well. It's Christmas time with the kids, so they're keen for it. But yeah, very much looking forward to the break, and it's nice that we've got Supercoach to kind of play with over the next couple of weeks.
Yep, it is obviously our true love. We all try to dabble in some other games. A bit of NFL's coming to the pointy end. FPL, that's a bit of a love-hate with me, and it's mostly hate that game, but yeah, NFL's coming to the playoff time, JD. So
yeah, I played 2 leagues and I'm into the finals with both, and I'm against Big 7 this week in both as well. So
huge.
If I hope I at least split 1-1. If I lose 2-0, I'm going to be real sad about it. So yeah, we'll see how we go.
And Jords, are you there, mate? You with us?
Yes, I am. I am here.
Camera's off. Can't find it.
Okay, so I'll say this once. I haven't said nothing about went to Turkey last week, so no camera for at least a week till I can wear a hat again. Have not slept at all.
You're taking the piss, right? You didn't actually go to Turkey, did you?
Doesn't matter. Anyway.
I don't know if he's taking a piss or not.
Anyway, it's been good.
You'd think he would have mentioned something, right? A snap from Turkey. What is this?
Well, I remember I was having lunch before I went with a few mates. I was going to tell him, I was like, shit, I don't want to say nothing here. Then it just came up in conversation. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to say anything. So only one person at work knows. So I just cannot wait to go back and with a shit hairdo for the next 3 months at least.
That's fine.
But anyway, I've had time off. Obviously had to take time off, and just can't go outside. So I've been playing League, playing with AFL Fantasy Picker, playing Pokemon. It's been terrible. Can't exercise. This is horrible. So this is a new thing to do. But yeah,
everyone.
Anyway, that's enough from me. So it's been
great.
Been
I
fun,
regret asking a follow-up question. This is not good.
Leave it to the imagination.
And what have you been up to, mate? You go on, share something about yourself before we jump in.
Yeah, sorry. So probably the most exciting thing that's happened since footy sort of ended was right after really the finals. I got a bit of a gig at Collingwood to do some video editing and whatnot. So I was there during the finals. Obviously a Richmond fan. It was still pretty cool. And if I was saying to everyone, it was like, oh, why would you want to work at another club? I'm like, mate, if they're going to win the flag, at least I was present inside the 4 walls and actually, lapping it up with all them, which was really cool. Especially
that's a once in a lifetime experience, regardless of whether it's your club or not, to actually be, part of it in some small way and see the boys and, even get to celebrate a little bit with them. So it's a very cool experience. I think there'd be a lot of people be very jealous of that, whether they're Pies fans or not.
Yeah, just like a big club like Collingwood, all the fans, like these open trainings during the week, during finals, just ridiculous numbers of people, rocking up and making videos and sort of those inside training ones. If anyone's seen, I was sort of editing those and doing those. And then on game day, clipping stuff. So that was cool. Very good experience. And yeah, hopefully leads to something in the future elsewhere. But we'll get to some prices, boys. Let's get right into it. I guess what do we want to go through a team, maybe plug some players in, and then get to some probably the cheaper ones is really all you look at really early on, right? We want to see who's of value, and maybe see what we can come up with as a structure. Is that probably what we want?
Yeah, Jords, has anyone actually made a team? I don't think you have, Anno. Jords, have you made a team yet?
Yeah, I put it in Discord 5 minutes ago.
Oh, okay. I'm not going to look at that. I don't want to poison it. So, yeah, should we just... how do you want to do it? Anno? Do you just want to go through the list and pick out players, or do you just want to call out names that we're interested in?
Yeah, let's just plug some primos in. Let's not really discuss those too much because that's
we'll have
neither
team
here nor
videos
there.
out soon anyway.
Yeah, well, you just record yours, Jords, didn't you? So, look, let's plug Dacos in. Let's plug. Who do you guys like here?
I got all
Jords,
three.
You got all three. All right, let's plug them in.
Okay, I'm halfway through putting a team. I have none of these three.
None of these three.
Yeah, so looking at defense is actually pretty interesting because it's where I see so far having a scroll.
A bit of value.
Yeah, I see probably the most value here. So I think you've got
really.
Well, from what I've seen so far, but I haven't gone through all it in detail. So maybe this will change once I pick a team. But just to throw out some names, right? You've got Kitty Coleman, who's just under 400K. It was slightly better without Rich, and obviously had a very good final series as well. You had
So go on. Sorry. On Kitty Coleman. Do you expect him to be a keeper?
Yes, we have to look into this. I think that's probably the hard part. What we haven't got yet is, how many trades we've got for the year, how they're managing the buy rounds, how they're managing round 0, and that's going to change these picks because Coleman is what the round 2 buy. So like how they're planning on doing this may change whether or not he's actually a viable pick. He won't have even gone through a price rise necessarily by the time he comes off buy. So he's someone you could wait for and, downgrade from a premium. But yeah, just saying he's someone that has value. You got Windhager at 320K, who really grew into the role at the back half of the year. The front half, he had a lot of sub games, a lot of low time on ground. So there's probably a fair bit of value at his price. You've got Chapman at 250K, who is being talked about moving more into the midfield rotation of Freo. So if he's going to lock down a best 22 role and it's going to be wing with maybe some on-ball time, that sounds pretty good. You've got Zach Williams, 216K off the ACL. We've seen him be a primo in the past. So at his price point, I think it's one you have to pick despite the injury risk. You've got Caulfield at 124K, so rookie priced. A very highly touted player from the Saints, but has also had injury problems. Might get the halfback role at the Bulldogs. You've got Gibkiss. Yep, we've brought out 150K. And we haven't even included some of the others like Toby Pink. Yeah, you've got Zach Reed for Essendon. You've got Cox for Essendon, who once again are like rookie-ish players, price players that have had injury problems. I think Zach Reed's 124K. So off the names I listed, they were all under 400K. I could kind of see all of them being viable, and I must have said about 8 names. So, if I'm starting someone like a Dacos, it might be in the midfield this year, or I might avoid one of these other premium starters. But, that's going very value heavy, which may not be the right approach. And we've also got to consider things like buys where, Coleman may not be particularly good. But, so a few for you to consider there. I don't know. A lot of those you don't like the sound of, Jords?
I think I have to take Zach Williams at that price.
You have to. You can't not. I know you don't want to.
Yeah, I'll force myself. Chapman, I'm not interested in playing wing. No thanks. Windhager, where's he playing? Defense or mid? I don't know. They got. He's going to be at least 4th, I think, in the rotations. They got Crouch, Steele, Dow, I guess. Ross.
Oh, come on, mate! You're comparing him to Dow.
Well, I think he'll get first opportunity.
Yeah. Okay.
Look, I'm not expecting big things from Dow, but I expect him to play round 1. Kadeem Coleman, I don't care for. Is injury prone for me, and I just don't know what they've got. McKenna, they've got Wilmot, they've got Kitty Coleman. I know they fed Kitty in the finals, but Wilmot got nothing, McKenna got nothing. Does that sway back during the year? Especially McKenna and Wilmot, I think they can improve their output with the preseason, especially Wilmot. So I don't care for Kitty. Look, he's going to outdo his price, his value, but I don't care for him. So that's why I've just gone guns and rookies. And then you got Hayden Young as well. I guess the value.
We didn't even talk about Hayden Young. That is my first pick.
I was about to bring him up. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, he would be my first pick. Primo option is Hayden Young. So I can't believe I missed him. Yeah, good call.
I think that's So go on.
Structure, like what you think? Yeah, 3. I mean, how many of those cheaper price players do you want to blood on field, right? So it's kind of where's Zach Williams sitting? Is he sitting D4, D5? That's probably what it comes down to. And obviously the other lines, we've got to look at the forward line once we get to that later on and what's going on down there. So
sorry, the Crows tragic, but throwing Dan Curtin, I think plays round one, average like 100 plus in the Colts.
So he was someone I was interested in asking about because I know he's come pretty highly touted and what Crows, did they trade up to get him? They were really happy to get him. Yeah. What role is he actually going to play next year? Because he play some midfield, and that's part of his reason why his scoring was so good. But he's actually a key defender. Like what? Yeah, what? Tell me about.
That's a good point because I don't know enough about that, like where he played juniors. I know he played a lot back. So where his scoring came from, did that come in the midfield? Did that come from the defense? I can't answer that. Okay. But he's a good interceptor from what I've seen. They use him on rebound. He can run and carry. So he's a good user as well. Really good overhead. And a really big tank. So he's been like, keeping up with the running drills, no problem. So hopefully that's not an issue.
Okay, cool.
I think the Crows have a lot of defenders. It's just, I think he'll be the 8th defender for us. And maybe like a Hinge or Miller rotates on a wing or something, or Brody Smith. Because I think they got to play him. So, but he did have a hand late last year, so hopefully he plays.
What do you think about this? I mean, obviously we'll get to the rest of the team, but something like this, could you see yourself?
Yeah. So Caulfield on field over Gibcus, but it's fine. I could see myself cutting like a Sicily or a Dacos for another cheap option if you really liked another one. So like I might have Chapman over Sicily, depending on how the rest of the money in the team works out.
Yeah. We'll have a look.
So JD, you don't have Dacos, or you're not thinking about starting Dacos at the moment.
So I'm just mucking around with it. So like if I was to start 2, it's probably Dacos and Young, just because Dacos has got the he's got upside still at his price and captain viability.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
True. All right, we'll move on. Have we mentioned sort of everyone we want to mention?
And you got others there. You got like Sheasel you might like. I don't know what the role is, but you got Sinclair as well, a bit cheaper than the 600k guys. So take your pick, really.
Yeah. Look, Primos, as I said, that's something we can get to later on. It's, I guess, the cheaper ones will start to show themselves. But defense. Look, there could be a bit of value there. Let's get to the next line. Let's get to the mids and the Bond. 724k. Obviously, based on what he's done last year, was absolutely superb. It's tough, as JD said at the start. I mean, we still don't know what's going on with round 0, so we don't really know what's going on. But the Dogs had the last by round 15 or whatever. So obviously they don't play round 0, but after that, round 1 to 14, they play every game there. If I'm correct in saying that, so it kind of makes Dogs picks maybe a little bit better. But again, we don't know what's going on. So 724k, you paying it, Jords?
For Marcus, no. Not with limited preseason. Even without, that's there's steep and then there's real that's steep. Huge. Oliver was huge. 6. I think he was sub 700. Oliver
699 or something. Is that right?
Yeah. Now another 20k, 25k. Nah, can't go there.
JD?
No, don't stop top price players.
Yeah.
In the top 10 midfield options, I think the only 2 I'd actually consider are Dacos and Butters to start with. If I had to pick a third, maybe it's Dawson or Laird, but I don't really love any of the other options in the top 10 at the moment.
Yep. All right.
Are you starting Bont?
Look, I do like. It depends what happens with this round 0, right? If because just their fixture, if how it works. But who knows if they're just. It's hard to know because I'm not going to speculate what they're going to do. We haven't even really spoken about that yet here, but I can't really be bothered. We'll just find out and then we'll speak about it then and what we think is the best strategy with it. So I'm not here to discuss options. We'll just wait. I think.
Yeah, because we have heard a couple of rumors as to how it could look, but it's probably not good to discuss. So
there's 5 things you could do, and it's I don't think any really is the best. So anyway, keep going.
So if you're not picking Bont, who are you picking as M1? And Jords, who have you got in there?
It's either I think Butters I'll pick just with the buy and then the slow start last year. And then he was on radio saying, wants to back up this year. Dawson I like. he doesn't have a. Okay, I've got to stop saying that buy, but no round zero. Expensive, and I don't know what the Crows midfield mix CBAs look like, which is a slight worry. Dawson can still play anywhere, can play wing. There's one game he had 50% CBAs where he played a fair bit wing, so could that happen more often? I don't know. I like Merritt. I know he's expensive, but I just love him. But everyone will pay mid 500s for him anyway.
At some point, yeah, we'll get him cheap.
So I don't really know. I think out of the real, like Tom Green would be the one. Again, similar issue to others with the round zero, but Andy's in my team. I'll pay 600 for Andy. I had the rough start last year.
Yep, I do like Andy myself as well. Who you got, JD?
I don't know.
So the 4 that I've got put in at the moment are Butters, LD, Green, and Walsh. I do like Andy as an option. I would consider him, although he was very painful at parts to own, and he is also someone that can make himself cheap. So I wonder
if Andy?
Yeah.
I think he was all right last year. It was just the start. I think he had one sub-100 score after that.
It definitely benefited from Sarong taking some attention. In round 3, round 1 he had the 70, round 3 84, round 5 77, and then after that he only had 4 sub-tons for the rest of the year, with the low of 80 in round 16. It was pretty good.
Spillers in the chat. Good stuff, Spills. Expecting a video soon, mate. Yeah, look, I do like Andy. I think it's 600, as you said, paying up for guys like Bont and Merritt. I guess has merit, but it's just you'd probably find him cheaper at some point. LDU is an interesting one. Obviously, he had those issues he was battling, but we know at his absolute best, he showed it early on in the year, and he finish off strongly as well. He did. So, like, when he's fully fit, we know what he can do. Sort of at that point in his career, he's pretty much in his prime. We're entering it. So,
he had like 4 separate injuries last year.
Oh, no, he dealt with so much. Obviously, the famous laid out that people don't want me bringing up.
So, who are your 3? I guess. If you had to pay up, who are your 3?
Paying up, I think Dawson sticks out at me, but I just don't know what's going on. So I don't know if I'd pay up for him. You might get him at some point cheaper. Depends how much. I think I like Tom Green and Andy, and then someone like Sam Walsh at 576 is probably going to be hard for me to pass up if he's fully fit. Knowing how much I love him. So it's just, do you pay 650 plus for any of these guys? I just don't think anyone really warrants it. We've obviously Bont's just huge. Clary's had his trouble. Something came out this morning about him heading home or something. So you're not going to touch Clary. Track would be the one, I guess, you would most maybe like. But again, there's so much. Someone like a Track who could easily drop in price. At some point. So I don't know. Laird's another year older.
Although I think, I have a feeling Petrarca's stats were much better when Oliver wasn't in the side. I mean, just to double check that. Because, maybe that is a watch. Like, if Oliver doesn't play, what does it look like? Without, he was 124 super coach. With him, he was 116.
Yeah. And another thing we always fall into the trap of is someone who was forward of the league year before is now mid-only, and you just, for whatever reason, don't look their way. And that's someone like Dunks. Like, he's still a very good option in his prime.
So Dunkley is actually one I do have a fun fact for, because he was one of the people that did really poorly once Ashcroft wasn't in the side. You would have thought it'd go the other way, but he went from 121 Supercoach with him to 95 without Ashcroft over the last 5 games last year.
That's weird.
Yeah, it was very strange. So, I mean, I don't expect it to be that stark of a contrast this year, but it does make me a little bit hesitant about Dunkley, given that Ashcroft will be missing a lot of this year.
Just quickly, Xavier, I think everyone has access to this for now. Like, I think one of my mates who doesn't have gold could access it. So just you sort of go on your team from last year, and it's like at the top. Sort of says 2024. So just see if it's there. Pick it. If you play around with it. Yeah.
I think if you go into game day, and then it should have in black with like gold font, 2024 team picker. It's meant to be a gold feature, but yeah.
It might be eventually. Big Jeremy, Tom Green, the must-have boys. I wouldn't go that far, but yeah, he's a very good option. I think, sort of, peaking at the right time. He obviously had quite a good year last year, but had some, suspension and whatnot. I think he can go better than that as well, average wise, than the 111. So if everything goes right. Should we move on to some cheaper ones?
Just one more thing to note. So Green, I think, is the round 3 buy, and Walsh is round 2.
Yep.
So yeah, depending on how they structure up this year, these two could change as whether or not they're actually viable picks. But
yeah,
price and where they're at in their careers, they both seem like pretty good value.
Yep. Anyone else you want to mention, Jords, before we start the scroll?
Any interest in Steele or Took?
Yeah, we should have mentioned those two.
So Took only if he goes back to his previous role. He was playing a much more sacrificial role to finish off the back end of last year. And if they see him continue to do that going forward, I've got no interest. Steele is a hard one because, last year should have been a bounce back year and he didn't get there. And I know there was more injuries compounded on all that stuff, but all the signs leading up to that point were pretty good. So yeah, it's very hard to get a read on him. It feels like someone that's kind of safer not to start than to start.
Yeah. The price always just jumps at you at $5.29, but I just don't know if I ever want to go back there.
There's one more. Can we go down a bit? $4.90, I think he is.
Oh no! The scroll has begun. This is where the scroll has begun.
Matty Crouch. George's been pumping on Twitter asking for his price for about 2 weeks. And you finally got it. What do you think? $4.90?
Is he in your side, George?
I had to choose between him and Connor McDonald as my first pick, and I went with Matt.
What do you actually see? What do you see?
So he did 108 the last 6 games. He had a sub game. If you take out the sub game,
yep.
But he's priced at 88.
Yep.
I think he can do 105 plus again with the Crows midfield. Like last year, it was the Berry and Laird show. And then that's what I sort of expected going into the year, and it was anything but that. It was Dawson in there, show. Matt Crouch late, Berry in the 2s. I didn't really see that coming. So
yeah,
look, I think Matt Crouch, he's still 28, so the cliff shouldn't be here just yet.
And he's had time off from the ones.
Yeah, so if just Magna had the disposal record before Titch took it. He's changed the way he's played. Like the hospital hand passes aren't as common. Like when he gets the ball, he used to be stationary, dish it off. Now he drives the legs a bit more. There's an interview on it last year on SA Radio. I don't have it, but I do recall it. Just saying how he's changed his game. And there's also an article that came out recently too. So I think that's enough on Matt. But look, I'll pick him. I think he's the last buy option to flip. Or if you're broke, you can keep him at M8. In terms of best 22, I think I'm pretty confident he will be, but I've been wrong on Crows players before. So he's in my team.
Yeah. The other thing I was interested in is his time and ground was quite low last year. So I think it was like 73%. I wonder if that's what his long run is and whether he can lift that, because if he gets up into the 80s, which I think is a bit more common for the mids, then you'd expect upside on top of that. But George, I don't know if you remember what he's like long-term.
His Tog's never been good. I assume that Tog is with a sub game in it. So I assume
No. It was lower with the sub game. It was 68 with the sub game. It was 73 without. Yep.
I think around the 75 mark is what you can expect.
Okay.
He just has nowhere else on the field he can really play, right? So he's on the field, he's playing mid, and then he's coming off when he's not, because he's not really too useful anywhere else. Some quick other ones, I guess Mills is $4.90, but what happened with him, and will he be ready for round 1? We don't even really know, but you probably, I know Jords wouldn't be interested in him anyway. Yeah, I know, but it is an interesting price nonetheless.
Horses rubbed off on him too much with the flexibility. You got Carl Aim on there.
480. Yeah.
I don't know his super coach, but his last 5 for fantasy
he goes nuts in fantasy. Yeah. A lot of marks, a lot of kicks on the wing.
All right. Even Crouch's best years, it was only like mid to high 70s, so probably not too much Tog upside.
Yeah. Anyone else around this price? Are we getting low? George Hewitt's
cheap at 440 for sure, but there's probably going to be better options. Taylor Adams is cheap at 440, but that's more of a forward option for us to consider.
Any other mid-onlys? Juan Francis,
there's someone at 250k.
Oh, sorry, there's someone at 300k first. All right.
Okay, boys.
There's
Calm
a
me
couple.
farm.
So you
Calm me
got
farm.
Shield at 388, which is very cheap, but he's he's not rejoining training until
Have
February.
you missed any Bombers players yet?
No, we've missed a few. You're the one bringing up Merritt and stuff. I'm not talking about them. Sheldrick at 301k.
Yep. Just I don't want to
so
miss anyone as I scroll. So
yeah,
Wardlaw's there, 365.
I mean Paddy Dow's 307, which
Paddy
I don't want
Dow.
to talk about. He's going to have to do a lot to
307.
prove
Will Brody.
anybody.
Sorry, I even said that.
Don't. You invite
That's
me
why you
along
said
these
Sheldrick.
things.
You wanted me to go straight past.
Yeah, past Dow, past Brody, get to Sheldrick. Someone actually like.
Sheldrick.
So
go for
he's
it.
priced around 53. He showed that when he had the midfield role in the few games that he had, he can probably be closer to 90, something like that. So look, there's a lot of changes that have been made with Jordan and Adams coming in.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see what happens with the Swans rotations, who's going to be the midfield. I mean, he only had 40% CBAs to actually get those scores. But if he's moving up into the 50, 60% range, then I'm pretty interested in Sheldrick as a mid-price option.
Any interest, Jords, or just do you see a pathway there?
Before trade period, yeah. But now I'm just like, Tywin Graham was terrible.
Annoying.
He had a off-season surgery with the syndesmosis. So what's his fitness? What level is it going to be at the level that's good enough yet? I don't know. So
I believe he's already back and running and involved with training. And we've seen, like Merritt returned from syndesmosis after a few weeks. We saw Walsh do it as well. So I don't think that's as bad a one to recover from as some of the others.
As it used to be, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone we skip a bit further past here? Forwards we'll talk about.
I think we missed Jared Lyons.
Yeah, I did send a photo to old Riley about him. Back, 2 years ago, he was 600 plus. Was it 2 years ago? Maybe 3.
Oh my God, Jared
Lyons. Yeah, it's all the sub games, right? So it was sub a lot back into the year, and just sort of tanked his price.
When he came on in the grand final,
yeah, I know.
Good.
Yeah, because Neil and Douglas were really poor for whatever reason that day. Not poor, but well below their standard.
So he turned 32 this year, and the last full year before this in 2022, he averaged 87, but he was playing more forward, I want to say. I'd have to have a look.
So it was 2021 was his big year.
And then, 2021 and 2020, he was averaging over 110. Yeah. At that price, you'd have to consider if he's the one that actually takes Ashcroft's time, for sure.
Yeah, because he can definitely make some money, outperform that, priced at around 40 odd 50. So yeah, one to consider.
Where he was playing 2022. 2022, he had 65% CBAs and went only 87. I don't know, maybe he's just passed it.
Yeah,
or average 91. Yeah,
Rasmus pretty cheap.
Yeah, Rasmus 238.
Oh, we've gone past Jordan, but I guess we'll talk about him in the forwards.
Your man Sam Berry, Jords, if he can find a way in the team. Oh, imagine if you had this price last year, you would have been absolutely frothing 226.
Lock. He would have been a lock.
Until he wasn't playing.
I've got these. I've got Matt instead. But yeah, if something happens to Matt, we'll just pick Berry. Easy.
Yeah, exactly.
We're into rookie price range. So, I mean, Harley Reid's a forward option, but Colby McKercher for North sounds like he's going to be playing off halfback junk role, so that's pretty easy.
Riley Sanders, anywhere.
Yep. For the Bulldogs, who might get midfield time with Baz out, so he's one to consider. And training reports I've read so far sound good. You've got Sharp, who's 123k.
Matt Roberts up there as well.
Freo, who might get a wing spot. Roberts, I'm not sure if it's best 22, but yeah. You've got Jai Clark for the Cats, who was obviously top 10 pick last year. If he can get some game time this year, You've got. I'm sure there's someone else as well. You've got Sean Manor, but that's probably someone you're probably popping in your forward line. I want to say there was another Geelong potential rookie as well. I cannot remember them all. Yeah. So a few options there. I mean, we're all just guessing at this point in the year. So any of those names sound good. Or Ed Allen for Pies if he ends up getting the mid spot. It sounds like it probably won't be him, but yeah, that's an option too. And just be mindful that we still have all the preseason signings to happen. It's where you get the great 1 and 2K options. That was Nick Martin a couple of years ago. It was Camel last year. There's, always someone like that pop out.
Jackson Binns,
Okay,
123, if he can sneak in.
Yep.
Obviously, was talked about all last year to no avail, but yeah. All right, we'll just plug in someone, Matty Roberts. For now, all right. Now, very favourite position, the beloved Brucks.
No, I don't know what the hell I'm doing here, to be honest.
I
Grundy, and
don't have
I don't know what the other
clue.
one is.
I don't have a clue. Big Briggsy, 608k. Just hilarious to see, but obviously he was big for some people last year. But obviously, yeah, English just streets above in average. Rowan's there again, of course. Again, but Rucks is probably going to be a very important line with what happens with this round 0 because, you know, if you need cover and they don't do best 18 or something, then you're going to need an R3. It almost makes me think that they have to do something like best 18 for those early buys. But anyway, we don't want to talk about that. So you don't want to pay 715 for English. Same principle as Bont. Anyone?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, he's one that you could consider just because he's a captain option
Ruck
as well.
line.
But
yeah.
He's someone that I don't think's in full training, although this side of Christmas is not really a problem. And it wasn't an issue for him last year. He had, 2 soft tissue injuries in the preseason and went out and
just a month before
did a 128 and was like by far one of the best options. But yeah, at his price this year, you don't have to start him if you can find value elsewhere. And I think there is enough of that at the moment that English is someone that you could pass on, but I don't mind it if people really want to start him because I don't like some of the other value options.
Yeah.
I think part of the problem with like the 700k plays is like the bigger they are, the harder they fall. So if something goes wrong, it goes really wrong. Yes, I started late in fantasy, obviously really dumb mistake, and season was done in round 1 after he scored 50 and dropped like 100k or something. So yeah, if these like big players get injuries, it's quite rough. But you can't predict these things. But I guess there's additional risk with the price.
That wasn't
point.
an injury. That was the sun. But
yeah, I don't know why I brought that back up. But
I'm only kidding. I guess So obviously Grundy, pending what happens, is just like 480k. We don't really think much about it and just pick him. I guess it's who you pair him with. So it's back to the old well. We've got Rowan. We've got Big Shrek at 589, always enticing under 600k. That man just signed a big contract. Many might say that's a bad
good
thing.
buy as well.
Gorn always there, obviously. Big Maximus, 583. Do we just go the old Grundy and Gorn?
Yeah,
combination.
Gorndy might be back on the menu. So Gorn is I think a pretty relevant option this year. When Grundy went out of the side last year, Gorn's scoring was 215, 120, 174, 130 for like a 160 average over 4 games. Yeah. He did have 2 more at the end, which weren't as good, like a 91 and a 65. But he obviously showed that he still has that ceiling when he was solo rucking. I think over that 6-game stretch, it's a 130 something average. So could be something that goes huge, and definitely I think probably the one I'd consider next down on that list after English. Like that's Gorn's the name that sticks out.
Yep.
Yeah, I got Gorn at the moment.
Big Goldie at the Bombers. There's just not a lot that stick out. Jackson's a forward, so you can always, if you really liked him, select him there. I mean, it might be an option, right? The forward line, as we'll get to in a sec, does look in a little bit of dire straits, so could be that option that you have as a bit of a swing, bit of cover. Rob had a bit of a down year, would you say, Jords, based on what he's in the past?
Had the most hit-outs in the comp.
Yeah, I mean in Supercoach, right? I'm not talking. I don't know. Why would even that be?
I think Riley thought might eat into him a bit.
He's there. He's pretty durable. So
how long were we
one of the fittest at the club?
How long have we been hearing about Kieran Strawn or whatever taking over for him? When's it going to happen, Jords?
It's not
Give me the cheap Ruck. Oh, sad.
Goldie. JD tempted? I'm only kidding. I don't know what's going to go on there. Play 2 rucks? What's going on?
It'll depend because Draper's still struggling with a groin issue. So I'm not sure if they're going to play 2 or if Goldie's just there to develop and fill in for when Draper can't play. But you've got Brian that you need to get game time into as well. So I'm really not sure how they're going to swing it.
Yep. Flynn, who I forgot, went to West Coast. So that's, interesting.
But damn, he did too.
Yeah, totally forgot. Gonna ruin Big BJ, my man's he actually had a quite. He was a year late when I picked him at 200k, I think 2 years ago, and he actually had a decent year. Up at this price, look, Cherry's 400k, Soldo's 485, so you're not even really touching that or even blinking at that. And then we go to the cheaper ones, Prusy, big Prusy at 300k. Will he ever get back into the side again? Probably not, with Briggsy showing what he did last year. And then we've got, guys like Moyle, 190k. Sweet, obviously we'll want to talk about at 150, 158. If he gets a game, that's obviously a pretty easy selection at R3. What did he get? Like a 50% discount or something? So,
so interestingly, one thing we haven't talked about is whether you should start a loophole at R3. And the reason why people like to do it is because they can get vice captain options. But if we've got teams on buy in round 0, 2, 3, 5, and 6,
you're picking
effectively
all day.
Effectively, you don't need a loophole. So, like R3 this year, like pick someone that is going to make money would be my strong recommendation. I think that's the right play in the average year, but in this year, it's 100% correct.
Yeah, actually, I haven't heard someone say that. You're right. With the 4 buy rounds there, we've got loops for 4 rounds, unless you somehow don't have a player from either of those teams, which maybe I haven't looked into it, but you should have a loop option there. So always pick I think it's a good rule anyway. If there's ever playing R3, always pick it. Cash gen, they can make a lot of money playing rucks, playing solo number 1 rucks, if that's the case. Even if they are playing in a 2 ruck team, they have the ability to make a lot of money. So
Conway's name round 1. Are you paying 180 for R3?
Yeah, I would.
I think you'd go for it. Like it's have. Grundy.
Especially if any of the rucks that we're starting this year still have high injury risk as well. So Gawn, Grundy, English, Cherry, for example, all have like injury risk attached to them. So I want the cover for sure.
Yep. Nelson's just said it just before. So, would you roll with something like this, given they all obviously are playing? That's why you would go with something like this. Conway R2, Sweet R3, or whoever you wanted to field, obviously.
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't? Too risky.
I don't think Sweet's job security is good enough with Soldo in the team.
Yeah.
And then Conway is he hasn't really had a clean run, and I still think he's had limited preseason this year.
Yep.
So I think there's enough good rookies in other lines, especially mid and back. You want to field that and put a premium in the ruck. That's my view anyway. Either similar or what do you think?
No, I think it's a good view. I think my problem is who's that other premium? That's probably the big question.
Yeah. I mean, if Sweet or Conway were the only ruck, solo rucking, then I think they're a fieldable option.
Something happened to Soldo or something.
Otherwise, it's just bench fodder for me.
Big
taking injury to Soldo.
Yeah, exactly. He thinks Conway's injury prone. Yeah, all right. I'll just chuck Grundy, Gawn, and then I'll put in Sweet for now, I guess. Could be Conway.
I've got Archer Reed for West Coast.
If you want to
ruck forward. No. I didn't they draft
you think he might be playing?
I guess I haven't read any training reports.
Who knows? West Coast, we don't have any ins there. So there's no in the nose really at West Coast. I think they've all.
There's a 102 guy for North that might play.
Finbar, someone did bring him up. Of course, it was Big J. I don't know much.
Dominated training
about any of these, so we'll do that for now. We'll get to the forwards. This is where all the fun's happening this year. So, Jack McRae, top of the line, Jords, top priced option, as no forwards that are available to us right now, averaged over 100. So he literally just a tick under, 2 points away from doing so. What do you think? Obviously, Baz ACL last week, which was disappointing, especially in a contract year. Who knows what's going to go on there if he'll even be at the club moving forward. He was actually another option. I think it was 450k if you scroll down a bit. So, McRae, Jords, is he in your team? Your beloved Jack
we all love Jack McRae, but no, he's not at the moment. I don't know. I think it was Adam in Discord that said it. He's like, no way after trading him in for 600 last year.
So it's bad taste.
I don't know. It's hard to tell with Bevo. Plus, I think he's just regressing as a player. And Libba and Bont are just ahead. And then Bevo wanted to play Daniel over McRae for a fair chunk of the season. Look, I don't really know. The only reason he's enticing is he's a forward. No one's touching him if he's a mid. So What does he average this year? Does he go below 95? Surely not. Which is probably fine for
what the forward line looks like.
But would mean he'd be overpriced. He started well last year, even with crap CBAs. He had like a 110 stretch for 5 weeks. And he also got subbed out in the last game with concussion, so sub game in there.
Yep.
Honestly, whenever I speak about McRae, I always just say at some point in the discussion, I don't know. And it's the same thing. I don't know. I don't have him at the moment, though. What do you reckon, JD?
On McRae, I don't know. I've got him in there. I don't love it. It's not really the type of pick that I want. He seems like he's gone off a cliff. He seems like he's out of favour. We'll see what the Dogs do with their midfield time. If his role is the same as what it was last year, I'll probably find a way to get away from him.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I think it's stiff on Jack. I think there's no way he averages less than 95 unless it's just purely shafted, no mid-time. Like he was still getting some. What was it, like 35 for the season? It's not a lot. He doesn't need a lot. He's still a magnet wherever he plays. Like, I don't know how I don't pick him, really. It'd have to be really, really bad signs in the preseason that he's just absolutely nowhere near it.
In his last 5, he averaged 81. In his last 5, he averaged 88. So he ended the year very badly.
But as we scroll down, I just don't see if that's
I know.
Major issue.
If I can get away from him, I will. But it's a big if, given what else is in the cupboard at the moment.
Like, you just got to get away from what that forward line was looking like last year. You know, had so many guys that were basically all full-time mids averaging, 105, 110 plus. And it's just not going to be the case this year. So, we'll leave him there for now. Luke Jackson, as I mentioned him before, would anyone be interested in doing something like that where you just have him as your bit of a ruck cover, pending what happens with the actual game and how they're attacking those early buys? It could be something that helps you out. He averaged just a tick under 98, obviously sharing the ruck load with Shrek. Obviously got a bit of full time though in that too. You'd have to take that into account. I don't know how many games that was total, but it was quite a few that he did get solo ruck opportunities. So
let me bring it up while you feel
any interest, Jords?
No.
None.
It's a solo ruck to pick him.
Yep.
Even if he's sharing ruck late in the season, trying to finish our forward line, he might be the best there as a forward. It's a bit of ruck time, so I don't know. Not at that price for sharing ruck. Not now.
So he was 87 average in 15 games with him, 118 average in the 8 games without him. So
about 8 games. Yeah. So clearly overpriced.
That's a lot.
That role. Yeah, it was really good. What do you have? Almost at what did he have a 200 almost, like 170 or something?
He did have a 173 against Brisbane in round 21. And then he followed that up with a 124 against West Coast and a 123 against Port. But I think at that time of the year, I'm not sure if any of them had number 1 rucks. Like, I think Port was Vicentini. I can't remember who West Coast. Maybe it was BJ.
As often is the case, with guys like English, and just sometimes get a good matchup.
Yeah.
More often than others.
So I think Jackson's probably a no for me if Darcy's fit, but it depends on what role. Are they going to try and continue with the midfield experiment? Is he going to be a forward? What are they doing?
All right. Anyone else stick out?
Dusty, the training report saying he was off half back. Keeping a watch on that. I don't know. I think it was all. I don't know. I think the context was missing, but yeah. Yep.
It's funny. Shy Bolton being here number 4 as well. That'll piss a lot of people off. They will not look his way, but.
Daniel is one that was doing CBA rotations as part of the Dogs training from what I've read so far, but I didn't particularly like him or his scoring in that role, so I'm not sure about that one. And then, number 10 there, Flanders, I think is the no-brainer pick for me in the forward line this year. He's last 10 games, once he got a bit of opportunity, was something like 108 average for Supercoach. So he's just the one where he's been begging to break out. It looks like he finally might get that opportunity, and we've seen in a decent sample last year that when he gets it, he can do some great things with it. He only averaged, I want to say, something like 35-40% CBAs over that stretch as well, so it's not even like he was reliant on lots of CBAs to do it. Like him as an option.
Yep. Jords, any thoughts on Flanders? Very, very keen in the preseason until what happened. And we made the odd trade to Sheasel and never looked back. But he finally showed, why we actually were interested in him at the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting 150s in the VFL, so you could do something. He was drafted. I think he played mostly forward in his draft, so he's a good forward. You would think that he's, it gets a decent chunk of those CBAs even under the new coach. And maybe I think he signed on when Jew was sacked. I think he wasn't happy with Jew from reports. So you would think that in discussions he would have been offered mid-time. Clearly, because he was like playing wing and stuff. So look, I'm just going to pick him in. I don't really need to say much else. He's probably my first pick in this whole game.
I think we actually might have. It might be some fake news. I won't bring it up. I'm round 0. We'll wait for an official announcement. Then it's just getting into the key forwards. Big Andre Mahini at 484. Go back to the well.
I'm convinced his ankle's stuffed. Just watching him at times, like he can barely jump some games.
Yeah.
Why did you open the door to that conversation, Eno? Just move on.
Because I'm a troll. I just want to see what Jords says.
Can't wait for own him one more time somehow.
And we just start getting the cheaper ones. Liam Baker, should I have my Richmond time in the sun? You guys have had yours.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not the one that looks at preseason training reports. I left JD and Jords to do that, but they have been telling me that Uze might be keen to play him in a more mid role. So, def forward and then playing in the midfield. That's funny. He won't even actually get the DPP. I don't know.
But def forward DPP is super handy. Like for those that have had it in the last couple of years, it's probably
it's funny. He won't be able to get like the third one as in the game. I just don't know if I trust it because he's so good anywhere, and it's like always been Dimmer's thing. I don't know if it'll be Uze's, but wherever he's required, he will play. And during a game that might be defense, that might be forward. I'd love to see him full-time mid, but I just don't know if it'll be everlasting.
Especially with the moving pieces, with them blooding some of the younger guys in the Tigers. Yeah. I've currently got him in my side just because I don't think I've got any other better options. But it's someone I've been very nervous about.
We toyed. Did you? I did in fantasy. Obviously, I didn't take too much interest, but you toyed with him in fantasy last year, or was it Jords? We brought him in.
No, it was Jords, I think.
It's just like you see it.
It was all role dependent.
Yeah.
He didn't have a role. It was a disaster.
Yeah, he was very good at the start and then dropped off. I think once like Short had come back or something like that. Or
Yep. I just don't know if he'll ever truly be a fantasy super coach type option.
Well, I think
games, but
they're popping up Sonsi's tires from what I've read in Richmond reports. He comes back around 3.
Which will be tough because he's not playing from the start, so it might cause some smoke screens on what truly is.
If he comes
good rotation, but
in round 3 and then 2 games for price rise, and then
he'll be a downgrade option
in round 6. So round 7 forward downgrade option at 150k. There you go. Pencil in Tyler Sonsi for round 7.
Yeah, definitely. But I just don't know if Bakes will ever truly be an option. All right, anyone sticking out as we scroll like 400s? Taylor Adams. I don't think anyone really wants to touch him at his age, but he is a bit cheap.
No, but I don't think he's cheap enough, to be honest. Even if he gets a mid-roll, I'm not sure that it's there. Depends on how it all shakes out. I think the next one I saw after this price point was at 380k or so, which was Fisher. And I realize it's going past Jords Boy and Connor McDonald. And look, if he gets midfield time like he rightfully deserves, King Connor will be in everyone's side and will take over the game. But unfortunately, the actual reality that we live in, we'll just keep scrolling to Zach Fisher, who is the other one that's been talked about playing off North's half back line. So between Sheasel, Fisher, and McKercher, those are the 3 being talked about. I don't know. I haven't seen enough out of Fisher to suggest he's going to be a great pick, but that North role is just so disgustingly good that even at 380k, he's someone that you can consider.
It's a bit awkward, isn't it? Jords, 370, 380.
Yeah, my confidence level is not high on him, but the role is supposed to be good.
So, I mean, this is the issue, right? So we've gone like 5 options that we've talked about so far, really, which is McRae, Flanders, Baker, McDonald, Fisher. And of those 5, Flanders is the only one we've got confidence in. All the rest is like pretty iffy. Oh, Adams, you could add in there as well.
Ben Keys
so
as well. Don't forget Ben Keys.
Yeah. So, like, Jords, how are you feeling at your forward line? If you don't have any of these and you've got Flanders F1, where are you going to fill out your side? Please walk us through it.
Okay. You probably have to scroll down to the 250 range.
Yep. No one in here.
Where your mate, your boy Elijah Sardis is 250, 240, 230, something like that.
Not in my side, but sure.
Not interested.
246k. I just don't know what his role will be. I don't know how he gets enough mid-time this year. We'll see.
You got like Deb at 250.
Oh, and like Sardis's kicking looks to be an issue from what I've read in the preseason report. Something I've been working on, but they're still going left, right, and center. So I think he's someone that might end up with quite a poor ratio as well. But yeah,
we're actually out of cash then. By the way, we had like 250 left with 4 forward spots to fill. So look, probably down another mid premium there.
I didn't have McRae. I had I put Sean Manor on the field, and I think I had
Let me go.
And
we've got one too many mids as well. So Miller shouldn't be in your midfield. Get rid of him.
Yeah.
So my strategy in the forward line is to spend as little as possible. What do you think of? It's too early to discuss rookies. I think it's Jacob Bauer.
Oh yeah. He had a decent. What's he in the game? What is he a forward?
He's
124k.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you got
he played. Yeah.
I guess some time.
I don't know. He was actually not too bad in the cup. What did he play? Like only 3 or 4 games. Maybe it was more actually, but I don't know. I don't know too much about Uze and what the team's going to be, where everyone's going to line up. So we're going to have to wait a lot in preseason for the for just how we line up, how it's looking. But I did like what I saw from him in the few games he did play. But it's going to be all sort of role dependent, really.
Okay. This is my thinking at the moment, right?
Yep.
So we're going to get most likely best 18 early in the season. We don't know.
Yep.
I think that's likely, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So the forward rookies will probably drop off. So just spend less there. We got Darcy Wilson. We got Sean Manor. We got Fullerton, I think, is playing back up to Gawn. Maybe Bauer plays. Maybe some other guy shows up. You got Sanders probably gets half forward DPP. I think you just tank the position.
You love tanking the forward line.
Because we're going to get best 8, or if we get best 18. If we don't get that, then might have to rethink.
But
that's
like,
my strategy.
Just remember, like, part of your best 18 that's disappearing, like Flanders is going as part of one of those best 18s. Right? Like he's bye rounds, round 3. Yeah.
And we get a bench. We get for an extra rookie. So maybe one of them gets better score.
Yeah, okay. Okay, very good. So I guess
might be the year of just luckbot rookie scores.
So hold on. Let's just
which I know we all enjoy.
Some cheap forwards that are worth people having on their watch list. Then you could look at Fife if he gets midfield time, but he won't. Tom Lynch, 290k. If he comes back from rehab good, he can score much better than that. You've got James Jordan at the Swans, 276k. If he gets midfield time, one to have a look at. You've got Harms at the Dogs, 260k. Once again, another one that could benefit from the Baz Lenker injury. You've got Elijah Hewitt, who was in good form, but didn't. I think he's got some injury issues. You've got Dev Robertson at 254k. Once again, someone else that could benefit from the Ashcroft injury, even though he didn't really benefit from it at the end of last year. Sardis has been mentioned. Billings, 244k. If he gets midfield time, it doesn't sound like he will, but one to keep an eye on. You have Jack Hayes, 230k, but we saw at his best. He could actually do much better than that. You've got Alan Davey Jr., 209k, with some talk of him being trialled at halfback for Essendon, but then a match him being played forward. But if he does get a back roll, then go for it. Harley Reid, of course, the rookie at 208k. You can go after that. Jai Cully, I'm not sure where he's at in his rehab cycle, but 193k, someone that you could definitely look at. You've got Orazio Fantasia at 176k, who is injury prone as all, but at his price, he can definitely outperform that if he gets a string of games in best 22 spot. What? Sorry, who?
Did you say we talking about Jai Cully?
Yeah, was it ACL? Yeah, it's wet. So he's back at training. So I don't know what his timeline looks like. Yeah. I'm not sure where he's at in his rehab. Then Nate Caddy for Essendon, 167k. He's been doing well in preseason, but that doesn't mean much. So I wouldn't necessarily read into it. He's like a third forward type. Finn McRae, 153k, someone else from the Pies that could potentially get some midfield time this year. I think we've gone through a lot of them now. So yeah, anyway, those are all cheapies that you could have on your watch list.
Yep.
Nice.
Chris Burgess, Jords. Is he a chance?
Oh,
Burgess,
Burgess.
He's key defender depth because we lost Nick Murray, ACL, and Duday.
Yeah, you don't think he'll play still? No, not early.
Look, Jordan Butt's form has not been great, so
yeah,
I think Mark Keane is like a number one key defender at the moment.
Yeah, and then obviously Bauer, all that. So, I mean, how would you?
And George touched on Manor as the mature age rookie for Cats. So if he gets up, looks like a good option.
Yeah, he did 110 in the VFL. Playing forward a lot. It's pretty good.
Seems like scrolling down, there's a lot more forward rookies than when I was scrolling in the midfield, down to those bottom prices. But yeah, okay. How do we filling it out? McRae, Flanders. We'll see if we can get a team done with this.
Can't see cash, but yeah,
you're not going to get a team done. You need to cut McRae probably.
1.2 mil left after this. So
Fisher.
Then
can you afford Baker?
Probably not. Looking at the rest of his side,
880 left.
Chuck in Reed now.
So Reed now, and then we just blood rookies on the field.
We'll figure out who else we can get in. So Manor, let's add him on.
Put Darcy Wilson in.
Wilson.
Oh, he's in.
That's all right. I'll put him forward. It's better there.
Wait, who's Darcy Wilson? What's his deal?
He's a wingman. He averaged 107 in the under 18s. They said that. I think Ross Lyon said they expect him to get games this year or see a fair bit of him. Was the quote?
Who was a mid that?
You could do James Jordan, 275k, or Harms at 260k, or Sardis.
So what have I got? I got 436 with these last two spots. So yeah, you can do some.
Do you want to run a 250k player as a placeholder? I think they could all be traps though, but I don't know. Got money
starters.
there.
Sure. I mean, in general, the types of players that are better are ones that have changed club for more opportunity than those that break out. So someone like a Jordan is more interesting to me than a Sardis, but yeah,
much of a muchness. Just to see what the structure can. Yeah, and then 190 left for here, so a little bit of cash left.
A Bell or something.
Yeah, or Finn McRae or Orazio Fantasia or for the culture.
And save.
Double McRae forward line. That's what we've been dreaming of for years.
I tell you, I've been scrolling through Discord teams, seeing a lot of Matt Crouch.
Oh, you've done it to us.
He's
in my side at the moment as well.
Evil plan coming together.
Why is he there?
You've already done it. Here we go. So what do we love? What do we hate? At very early stages, but
just Green and Walsh if
they
don't get the buy.
So I really like the defense. Like I think I'm gonna like a lot of people's defenses because I just see Williams and Caulfield as at their price just so good. I like Young as a value option as well. And then I think we're going to have some pretty good cheap players on the bench that, maybe key defenders, but have got job security. So whether that's, Gibkiss, Pink, Reed, those types. I like all of that. Curtin seems like a lot of decent job security as well. So I think defense is hard not to like. Midfield seems pretty scuffed. I don't know why. It just doesn't look right to me. Rucks, we haven't run double value rucks in a while. So that, like having Grundy back in after the last couple of years looks weird to me. And the forward line's just atrocious. It's a basket case. But that's what's going to make it fun because if you can pick from those list of cheap options and find the ones that are going to be the performers, that's where you're going to differentiate yourself from the competition this year. So, I think it starts nice in defense, and as you move down the team, it just looks worse and worse and worse.
I don't think you can go too wrong in defense for whatever way you go. I think it's just the mids and forwards will look, and even like the rucks too. There's going to be a bit of variation.
Yeah, but that's what last year the forward line was such a layup with all those options. It just somewhat makes it a bit of a snooze. So I do like this where we've really got to put in preseason and monitor everyone and see who can be of value and that'll be your leg up for the year. So anything else we want to mention, boys? Or
I will say one other thing looking at this is that it's not guns and rookies, but it feels more guns and rookies than last year because what we had like Warple, Setterfield. There was another midfield option. There was Bruin. There was Flanders. There was a lot of these like 300k options.
Obviously,
that we
Briggs
kind of,
when he came, and Ruck.
Nas, and defense as well. So we didn't even touch on him in defense as an option this year. But yeah, there was a lot of 300k options that we looked at, and it's kind of interesting because as of right now, it feels kind of sub 200 or 450 plus. So it's interesting that there's really nothing in that middle spot, and I wonder if that either comes out more in the preseason or if it's just going to be a different way that we structure up this year.
Yep. All right, we'll let Jords talk lastly before we go on Big Thor. We didn't mention him. Sorry, I had to. That comment came through and I was like, that's too good. No, look,
if clangers weren't a thing, sure.
If clangers weren't a thing. Oh, well, that's why we go to the other game. Big old fantasy.
Look, he did 90 at halfback. Is that enough? Not for me.
I don't think so.
Unfortunately, not at his price because he hasn't really got a discount.
Yeah.
If he was a forward eligible, then yes, but no.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Anything else?
I don't know. I still think you could go there. His floor was pretty good, and he does have ceiling. You just didn't see a lot of it last year. Yeah. No, nothing else. Nothing else. There's fun working through this. I think we've got some good ideas around how to build a team now.
Jords?
Taylor Adams.
We did mention him.
I kind of brushed him off, but I think he'll be popular. I don't want him though.
Think he will be popular? No, I don't really want to touch that. No, I think JD said it. Not cheap enough, right? Like if he was 300 and something, maybe it'd be a bit more, into it. But 440 almost like.
If they give him like 70% CBAs in the preseason game.
That was going to be my question. What level of CBAs do you have to see before you could jump on? And he is one of the round 0 players. So if that round's excluded, we do get a free look at all the Swans midfield rotation. So it's going to be very instructive for all of Jordan, Sheldrick, and Adams.
Well, Brendan seems to think that's what they're doing. I don't think we have an official word, but I think there was some. Jords should know big footy rumors going around of what's actually going on. But
no, I don't have intel.
What's fantasy doing? I didn't even look into it. They're doing the same, right? Skipping it, and then the price still
starting round 1, and then in fantasy it's starting round 1. The buys are best 18. The round 1 price changes for fantasy, which would be round 3 for Supercoach, include that
the first game.
That's round 0. Yeah.
So you don't pick a team at round 0? You still we watch the footy?
Yeah. You just watch those. I mean, so the crazy thing is, right? I was thinking about this the other day, that those 4 games in round 0 become the 4 most important games you can watch for the whole year. Yeah. And you will have no
they're real games.
Because they're the most information you can get for free about players. So
it's not just some preseason dead rubber. Yeah, true. Might have some live streams, boys, and I don't know.
I don't want to talk. I'll actually have to sit there with pen and paper and jot down shit.
Yeah, fair. All right, good to jump on, boys. Catch up. Good hour. Supercoach is out, so favorite time of the year. I know for Jords and JD, for everyone really, it is the best time when nothing's happened. You can play around with your team, and you don't have to be, depressed when someone gets injured or subbed out or doesn't play in the desired role, and it actually counts. You're not getting the points you want, so it is a fun time. Tom Lynch at 250k. Yeah, we did bring him up, but
is he 250?
He's cheap. He's cheap.
I think he's a bit more than that, no?
280, 290.
Yeah,
287. I mean,
287. So
split hairs here. It's
me and George got some PTSD from that.
Oh anyway.
So I don't know if I'll go there.
Tigers aren't as good as what they used to be as well.
No, that too. So
did Rewalt retire? I should know that.
Yeah. He retired 2 years ago. He's been in the media coop for that.
Has he? Oh yeah. Because I'm just wondering, what's your fixture to start the year? Is it a soft?
Well, we've got that Gold Coast round 0 game, and then what's our bye round? I don't know.
All right, so you've got Gold Coast, Carlton, Port, Swans, St Kilda. It's not exactly a soft match start.
Anyway,
West, yeah. All right.
Good to see you, lads. Sure, we'll be talking more and a bit more active. We'll probably have a podcast in early Jan at some point. Who knows? Take a bit of a break. Enjoy the Christmas. Hope everyone else does. Have a good little break, and we'll see you in the new year.
Thanks, Anno. Thanks, Jords.
Cheers.
Peace.
See ya,
boys.